Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome here to the 35th race of the 5th season of the NNSCRA Duracell Cup Series. This is North Carolina Speedway, also known as Rockingham Speedway, also known as The Rock, as it has since the inception of the Duracell Cup Series, it has been the venue that has had the final say, the final determining into who were going to be those that would battle for the championship in the season finale. And for a 5th straight season, it is ready to do the same, and it's got some interesting names of who could move in and who could fall out during the course of today's race. 79 laps of racing await these drivers here today. For most drivers in the field, they're looking to just try and get another victory before the season comes to a close. Been a lot of silly season going on from season 5 into season 6, but for 6 drivers, they're trying to make their way into the final 4 positions in the playoffs. Those 6 drivers are as follows, or those 6 teams, I should say. You've got the 77 team out of Auto Junction Racing. Their teammates, the 78 team out of AJR, also in the hunt. You've got the single car race team out of Haas Racing, the number 8. You've got one of the S3 Motorsports cars, the 09, in the hunt as well. You've got a team that didn't even take the green flag to start the season in the Daytona 500, the 95 team out of Smart Motorsports, and then you've got the lone Ford team still in the hunt. That's the 47 team out of Lake Effect Autosport. 4 of those teams are moving on. 2 will be eliminated, and we'll find out who are going to be the teams and the respective drivers next week at Homestead Miami Speedway that will battle with the championship on the line. We are guaranteed a brand new champion, or I should say in this case, champions in the Duracell Cup Series. None of the former champions were able to advance past the round of 8, and so we'll see who is going to have at least the shot next week, but they're going to have to get through a very treacherous track here today. Before we get to the starting grid and everything, let's give you one final flash on the screen here of what the point standings look like coming into today's race of those 6 remaining teams. Now, not saying that they're safe, but there have been 2 good runs so far here in this round of 6 by the top 3 teams, the 77, the 8, and the 78. So they've got a little bit of a cushion over that cut line coming into today's event. 18 points for the 77 team, 22 points, I should say, for the 77 team, 20 points for the 8 team, and 16 points for the 78 team. All eyes today are really going to be on the battle of 4th through 6th, because those 3 teams, the 09, the 95, and the 47, they've really struggled here in this round of 6. Pretty poor performances to start out the round at Boston, and then all 3 of those teams finished outside of the top 15 in the finish results last week at Talladega Superspeedway. So they are not in a must-win situation, but it's almost looking like we've got our own little battles of 3. 3 drivers that are battling to stay in playoff contention and 3 drivers that are trying to get themselves into that final 4. I mean, look at the gap right there. The cut line driver is going to be Stephen Pollard III today, driving the 09. He's got only 5 points. Back to the 95 car, Sean Arndt, 2-time winner behind the wheel of that machine, and then only enjoying a meager 8 points over the 47 car, which is being driven by Stephen Colon. Oh yeah, fun fact, Pollard, Arndt, and Colon all former winners this season, a big chunk of the reason that those three respective teams even made it to the playoffs. So it's going to be an interesting showdown with those drivers here today. And can I just give a little bit of a shout out to Toyota? Been thinking about this ever since looking at this scenario when the checkered flag waved at Talladega. Toyota came into this season with only 4 full-time teams, full-time cars, I should say, 3 full-time teams. And 3 of those 4 are up here with a chance of advancing into the Final Four. The other team that didn't make it, the 11 car out of TCW Racing, they went to victory lane with Cole Baker. So all 4 of the Toyotas have gone to victory lane at least once. They've got a combined 8 victories amongst 4 cars with 12 different drivers. That is pretty impressive because coming into this season, the Toyotas were massively outnumbered by the Chevrolets and the Fords, and they've held their own, and they have pretty good odds. If the 77, 8, and 78 can advance into the Final Four, that's a 75% chance that Toyota might get their second Duracell Cup Series championship. Of course, the first was Brian Acosta back in Season 2 when he drove the 10 car for Joanna Atwood Motorsports. But let's take a look at the starting lineup now for this evening's event. It's an all-female front row. Jessica Shelton, she's still looking for her first win on the season. She's going to share the front row with Andrea Serra, who is looking for the first win of her Duracell Cup Series career. Ryan Brommer's going to make up row 2 with Dave Campos. Now, Campos, he ended up having a really good performance back in the cutoff race in the round of 8. That helped them to advance, the 8 car to be able to advance here into the round of 6, so he'll look to keep that up here today. He's the highest starting of the playoff contenders here today, and the top 5 is going to be completed by RJ Bishop. But before we can get to the rest of your starting lineup and get ready for the festivities here today at Rockingham, it's time to go down trackside for pre-race ceremonies, and we begin things with today's singing of the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Drivers, start your engines!
Command given. These 29 cars will fire up and roll off pit road behind the pace car, getting ready to run the penultimate race of Season 5. Shelton and Serra, as we mentioned, is your front row. Ryan Brommer and Dave Campos, row 2. RJ Bishop and Daniel Bouchard, they're in row 3. Row 4, going to find Zach Rogers, Chris Washer with William Brock and playoff contending driver JT Bryant, driving the 77, completing the top 10. Tristan Allen and William Micros are in row 6. Row 7, Matt McIntyre and Ali Rain. Row 8, Diego Yepes, playoff contender, alongside of Jose Mills. Stephen Colon will start back in the 17th position alongside of Chris Dollerton. Vince Almriego, Nathan Norman complete the top 20. Row 11 with Anthony McCurry, Charles Belding. Stephen Paul with the third Sean Art way back in row 12. Trent Dunham, Zachary Fitzwater, row 13 with Danny Wells, Bradley Ream, and Bruna Harumi bringing up the rest of the field. Green flags in the air. We're racing at the Rock. So far here in the round of 6, we have had 2 non-playoff teams go to victory lane at Boston and Talladega, so all 6 teams right now will have to advance into the Final Four purely through points. Of course, there is the opportunity that they could win here today, but should bear mentioning that if they do end up winning, yes, they advance to the Final Four, but the 5 bonus points for winning does not carry over into the championship battle. No bonus points carry over into the final round. At Homestead, it will merely be highest finishing position. No bonus points for laps led, no bonus points for most laps led. Just purely whoever finishes the highest of the 4 remaining teams, as Ryan Brommer will get around Jessica Shelton. Shelton got credit for leading the first lap. Ryan Brommer is going to get credit for leading the second lap, and he is going to try and put some distance between himself and the 0-3. RJ Bishop will now move into the 3rd spot. Now, we mentioned that Stephen Colon is in the 47 car here today. Not necessarily a must-win situation, but he does have to finish 9 positions ahead of Stephen Pollard III and 4 positions ahead of Sean Arndt. A little bit of good news for the 47 car is the fact that Ford has gone to victory lane in both the races here in the round of 6. Adam Garcia at Boston in the 2 car, and last week, Pedro Lucas in the No Limits Racing Ford Mustang, the number 21. RJ Bishop now to the inside of Jessica Shelton for the 2nd spot. Zach Rogers looking on in 4th place. I did see earlier, a couple of laps ago, Allie Rain appeared to get up into the wall off of turn 2, but looks like she's still in this pack and still up to speed, so maybe just a mere brush of the wall, as Bishop will take the 2nd spot. Zach Rogers will now look for the 3rd position. Shelton, the pole sitter, falling back quickly, as is Andrea Serra in the 99. Serra's now under fire for the 5th position from the 48 of William Brock. Mention the fact that we've been here at Rockingham for the next to last race of the season ever since season 1. 4 different race winners as a result. 3 still take part in the Duracell Cup Series. 1 is in the field here today. Jay Jefferson's the driver that no longer is in a Duracell Cup Series ride. He was the inaugural winner back here. Remember that number 5 Cobalt Tool Chevrolet going to victory lane. Season 2, it was Benny Watson. Charles Belding, who right now is, I believe, running at the very tail end of the field. He's the only driver in this race that is a former winner here at Rockingham. And then Michael Wayne Robinson is the defending winner of this race, one of the drivers of the 93. William Micros in the 93 car here today. So Belding is the only driver in the field that has previously taken a checkered flag here, as Chris Washer got around Shelton, moved the 44 up to 5th, and now Tristan Allen will take 6th position. Andrea Serra has found her way to the inside line now, and she's going to make her way around Shelton. That'll be for P7. Right now, your highest running playoff team is the 78 car, I should say, rather, of Diego Yepes, 2-time winner this season, trying to solidify that at least one of the Auto Junction Racing Toyota Camrys are going to be battling for the championship next week. There's Stephen Pollard III. Right now, he is the 2nd highest running of the playoff contending teams, in the 11th position, doing exactly what he needs to do. He's got to keep the 95 and the 47 in his rearview mirror, and that team will be advancing. 77 of JT Bryant, right now in 14th place. Basically, for the 77, the 8, the 78, and the 09, they've just got to stay ahead of the 95 and the 47. The pressure is on for Sean Arndt and Stephen Colon today. See if we can find those two. There's Sean. Right now, last time by scored in the 21st position. This is a pass, I believe, for 19th between himself and the 8 of Dave Campos, who's starting to fall back here a little bit. And then the other driver, Stephen Colon, he's back here with his teammate Bradley Reen. Last time by, Colon was scored in the 25th position. So he's got to make his way up there. The 09, the 95, and the 47 teams are all really in this position because they had back-to-back poor performances, starting at Boston and continuing at Talladega. So they are in a bit of a precarious position, to say the least. as Pigeon Racing's got themselves first and second now. Zach Rogers moving up to P2 behind Ryan Brommer. Chris Washer's Dodge moves into third. Sarah now back up to fourth, and RJ Bishop lost a trio of spots there, going from second now back to fifth. Ryan Brommer, Zach Rogers, formerly teammates out of Bulldog Racing, a Dodge team that ran from Season 2 to Season 4, I believe. I don't think that was a team back in Season 1, but I could be wrong. And then both drivers moving over to Pigeon Racing, where they remain teammates. Bishop now for fourth place on Chris Washer. I should make something clear in terms of something I addressed earlier. Bonus points will not count in the finale. They will count here today. So if we do manage to get any of our remaining 6 playoff contending teams up here to the front to get a lap led, they will get a bonus point for that. It's only when the points are then reformatted heading into Homestead that bonus points at that point in time onward will not count for the final 4. So just to kind of clarify that. Tell you what, Ford looks like they want to sweep this round of 6. Andrea Sarah, RJ Bishop, about to take second and third place, and remember, Ford has gone to victory lane in back-to-back races so far. Yepes in 9th position. You notice that Shelton fell back, and look who she picked up. SP3, her teammate out of S3 Motorsports. Might be trying to help move the 09 up towards the front. Regardless of what 4 teams make it into the Final 4, it's really going to be interesting to see who's going to come out on top when the checkered flag waves at Homestead, because I think you can make a clear case for any one of the 6 remaining teams and their subsequent drivers. You've got the 78 team with 3 victories, the 77, 8, 09, and 95 teams all have 2 wins apiece. The 47 team, they've only got 1 trip to victory lane, but they've been pretty doggone consistent during the course of this year. So I think you could make a clear case for any one of those particular teams to win the championship. Now, the scenario for who would be doing the driving duties in the season finale, that falls to the Tri-Terry drivers for each respective team. So the 77 team, they would have Roberto Crown Jr., not a bad guy to have there, a guy that's responsible for both victories the 77 team has gotten this season. The 8 team, they would have Pierce Crone next week. 78 team, they would have Alexander Rowe. 09 team would have Caleb Fogler. 95 team would have Zachary Taylor, and the 47 team would have Daniel Voiles. Mentioned at the top of the program, there are drivers that are just trying to finish out the season with a victory, and you've got a couple of them right here that are former winners in Duracell Cup competition but have not been able to find victory lane here this season. Actually got a trio of them right there. William Brock in the 48, Vince Almriego in the 01, and Nathan Ormond in the 17. Been a while since any one of those drivers have found victory lane. Vince Almriego, last time he went to victory lane, he was in a 42 car. William Brock, his last win was in an 88, and Nathan Ormond, his last victory, if I recall correctly, was in a 41 car. The 78 team, though, they have been strong all season long leading up to the playoffs. 3 victories, 2 with Diego Yepes, 1 with Ryan Butcher. They won the regular season championship. Had a couple of close calls where they very nearly were eliminated back during the elimination race from the round of 10 to the round of 8, and then from the round of 8 to the round of 6. Really, in that first round, it was the 15 bonus points, well, the 30 bonus points, I should say, for the 3 victories and the regular season championship that saved them from not being eliminated in the first round. And then they were only 3 or 4 points away from elimination after the round of 8. But here in the round of 6, they have stepped it back up. They look like the championship contending team that we saw during the regular season. And right now, they are the highest running playoff team in the field right now. Currently in the 10th position, maybe about to lose that to Anthony McCurry. We're focused here on Jose Mills, the 38. I mean, talk about a driver that has not been to victory lane this season. It's amazing that Jose Mills is in that category. Driver with the most Duracell Cup Series wins in his career. So he's now going to make his way around Nathan Orman. That is going to be for 8th place. Anthony McCurry just cracked the top 10. There's Matt McIntyre, the 27. He's going to lead Stephen Pollard III by the 78 car. That's a very important pass because that's a position, that's a point that Pollard gains on the 78 car. And those two teams coming into this race were only separated by 16 points. So if Diego Yepes continues to free fall, Pollard could put the 78 car down on the hot seat in that 4th and final transfer position. There's the 8 of Dave Campos also getting around, and Sean Arndt starting to make his way forward in that Cricket Wireless Chevrolet Camaro out of Smart Motorsports. Following in the tire tracks of the 39 of Daniel Bouchard. All this going on just outside of the top 10 is up at the front. Not much has changed. You've still got Ryan Brommer, the race leader, Andrea Serra in 2nd, and RJ Bishop rather in 3rd. Tristan Allen 4th, and Zach Rogers completing the top 5. Nobody up here inside the top 5 has really made any passes for position. We really have not had any battle for position. But now you've got to wonder about pit stops. One of these drivers is going to elect to come to pit lane because these drivers in qualifying, fastest lap by Jessica Shelton was a 23.6. Most of the field ran in the 23.6s to 23.9s. This last time by, just about everybody was in the low to mid 25-second bracket. So we're seeing anywhere from a 10th to 2.5 tenths lost in terms of speed with the tire wear. Also, it will be interesting to see just how far these drivers can go on a tank of fuel. I believe it is going to be fuel rather than tires that will draw them to pit lane. They're looking to make the pit stop somewhere in the vicinity of lap 39 to 40. If they can do that, they can make it the rest of the way on fuel. If they come to pit road any time prior to that, we may end up seeing some more green flag pit stops somewhere in the realm of 5 to 7 laps to go. So it could be very important pit stops in the closing stages of this race. There's a battle going to be for 3rd place. RJ Bishop looking back in his rearview mirror, and he sees the left Twix and right Twix of Tristan Allen breathing down his neck. Last time by, it looks like Andrea Serra was a tick quicker than Ryan Brommer, so the battle for the lead may be starting to close up here momentarily as well. Fastest car on the track, I think, right now, though, is that 38 of Jose Mills. Fought his way up to 6th, and now he's about to crack the top 5 there on Zach Rogers. Let's see about lap times last time by. Jose Mills ran a 25.567, and Ryan Brommer, the leader, ran a 5.95. So yeah, 3 100ths quicker than our race leader, and that's back in traffic dealing with dirty air. So if you're looking at someone that is really good on the long run, that Louisiana Hot Sauce Ford Mustang might be the one to look at. I mean, look how quickly he's closing up here on the battle for 3rd place between RJ Bishop and Tristan Allen. It's about 5 miles per hour faster out of the corner onto the straightaway, and it visibly is showing as we're about to have a 3-man fight for 3rd place. Question now for Jose Mills is how quickly can he bypass these two drivers, because he wants to be able to save some tire, some speed to get up there to Andrea Serra and eventually to Ryan Brommer. Takes the peek to the inside on Tristan Allen, almost some contact between them. And he will get alongside of Tristan Allen for that 4th position. Looks to outbrake him into turn 1. Rockingham is a very difficult racetrack in the fact that the corners in 1 and 2 are entirely different in how you approach 3 and 4. 3 and 4 is where all the speed is. 1 and 2, it's more about finesse. much heavier braking zone into turn 1 than it is into turn 3. Almost kind of think about how you would approach Darlington, but in reverse. Mills now up to 4th. He is going to have to get back into his rhythm to reel RJ Bishop in. Spent maybe a little bit too much time trying to get around Tristan Allen. And we also don't know just how much tire he used up in trying to make that pass. Zach Rogers under fire from Nathan Ormond. I'm telling you what, the Fords came to play again. You've got, what, 4 of them up inside of your top 7. 5 of them inside of your top 10. Matt McIntyre right now in that 9th position between Anthony McCurry's Chevrolet and Dave Campos, his Toyota. Pollard right now running in 12th. Sean Art is in 14th. And then you've got the teammates out of AJR, Yepes and Bryant, running in 15th and 16th. So Sean Art, yes, he's running ahead of the 77 and the 78, but he's not running ahead of them by much. So as things stand right now, it still looks like the 95 and the 47, the teams that came into this race below the cut line, that's where they remain at this point in time. So they're going to have to pull a rabbit out of a hat here if they're going to be advancing into the Final Four. The 47 team right now really struggling with Stephen Colon. They are all the way back in the, well, last time by 25th. That's where they stay. Not sure exactly what's going on there with that 47 car, but it is not in a good position right now. Danny Wells has lost touch with the lead pack in 27th. Charles Belding all the way back here in 28th. The only driver in the field that has a former win here. And I'm also seeing that Vince Almriego must have made an unscheduled stop for something. He is now 2 laps down in that 0-1 car, and he was having a pretty decent outing. There he is, battling with the 8 of Dave Campos, but that is not for 7th place. Right now, -2 is Vince Almriego's. I think the 8 might be coming to pit road. Everybody's on pit road. Race leader Ryan Brommer is in. Does anybody stay out an extra lap to maybe avoid coming down a congested pit lane? Looks like the easy answer to that is no. Shelton already getting service. Matt McIntyre, I believe these drivers were on pit road the lap before. Talking about the 03 and the 27. Almriego, I'm certain, won't be on pit road here as he was just on pit lane a couple of laps ago. He might be able to get back one of his laps, maybe both of them. Might be a blessing in disguise for him. Really all depends on when he came to pit lane. Could he make it the rest of the way on fuel? Maybe he ended up coming to pit road by himself. Kind of shortcut the rest of the field. Maybe it was by design. I'm assuming it was unscheduled because it would seem a little bit too early. But then again, maybe they're trying a Hail Mary shot. We'll see when he crosses the line here if he's still on, if he's on the lead lap or not. Looks like he might have gotten both of his laps back. So it may not have been unscheduled after all. We'll wait and see when everything cycles around. Let's see who's going to cycle out to the race lead here. Ryan Brommer was the leader prior to the green flag pit stops, and he is not the leader after pit stops. Andrea Serra was able to jump him. Now, I think Andrea Serra might have come to pit road the lap prior to Ryan Brommer. Yes, she did. So took advantage of the fresh tires on her out lap, and now she's got almost 2 seconds between herself and Ryan Brommer, who's now back to second. Brommer, who's led 41 laps here today, now cycles out into the runner-up spot. Jose Mills is third, 4th place for Zach Rogers. RJ Bishop is 5th. Tristan Allen 6th, Danny Bouchard in 7th, 8th is Matt McIntyre. Stephen Pollard III, still the highest running playoff contending driver. He's in 9th, and 10th place is under contest. Chevrolet, Ford, Dodge, and maybe even a Toyota there with McCurry, Washer, Ormond, and JT Bryant. Well, I'll tell you right now, we may have our Final Four already determined unless something drastic happens to any one of the 4 here in the closing stages. You've got Pollard right now running in 9th. The 09 was the cut line team. The 77 of Bryant is right now running in the 13th position. Dave Campos just behind in 14th. And the 78 car is currently running in 18th place. Compare that to 16th for the 95 and 22nd for the 47. It's no contest. There's no battle right now for that final spot inside of the final four. Pollard is doing exactly what he needed to do, and Pollard's been in these kind of situations before. Pollard was in the season finale at Auto Club. The team at that point was looking like they could easily point their way in with the win Kyle Matthews had gotten previously at Martinsville, but Pollard wasn't willing to take that risk, and he picked up his first career victory in Duracell Cup Series competition there at Auto Club Speedway. And now another high-pressure situation, an elimination race with the 09 team came in as the cut line team. Pollard putting together another solid outing. Battle may be for second place. The battle for the race lead may be over. NNSCRA is pulling away from Ryan Brommer, and Brommer is about to have company in the form of Jose Mills, Zach Rogers, and RJ Bishop. Now, granted, the 38 car we saw in that first run, he was the best car on the long run, so if he can get around Ryan Brommer, it'll be interesting to see if the gap between himself and the 99 closes up at all. If you think about it, Jose Mills and the team owner of the 99 car, they are actually former teammates. Levi McIntyre drove a couple of seasons for Blue Oval Automotive before moving off to his own team of Shadow Cult Racing, sharing that 99 car between himself, NNSCRA, and Riley Henry. For NNSCRA, she's looking for her first career victory. She started this race from the outside of the front row. The 99 team is 19th in points coming into this one. Still looking for its first win overall this season. Kind of reminds you of what we had last week when Pedro Lucas went to victory lane. First win of his career and first win of the season for that team. Actually, it was the first win for the No Limits Racing team overall. But NNSCRA, an army of one in that Ford Mustang, as she's just waiting for the laps to tick away. I should mention that when most of the drivers came to pit road, they were in the fuel window to be able to make it the rest of the way on what they've got in the tank. So we should not see those last-minute pit stops in the closing stages that I had predicted if they had come to pit road about 5 to 7 laps earlier than they did. I don't know how prevalent the draft is, but these four cars lined up single file have closed up 9/10 of a second between themselves and NNSCRA. So it's working. NNSCRA was running away with the race lead, and just like that, that lead is being gobbled up. It is now down to a second from Sarah back to Brommer. Let's see if it closes up this time by about a tenth. Jose Mills did show the nose down the back straightaway, which might have killed the momentum of that draft, but see him doing it again. Trying to get some clean air to the nose, maybe, to not overheat. Zach Rogers going to get kicked out of line there by RJ Bishop, so they are reeling in NNSCRA, but not quite as quickly as they were when they were all lined up and in formation. This time by 2/10 of a second gained. Now, what did I say about 10 laps ago? That the battle for the race win may be academic? Thought NNSCRA had this thing in hand? Well, that opinion changed quick. For 4 of these 5 drivers, they're looking for their first win of the season. For 2 of the 5, they're looking for the first win of their career. Zach Rogers is the only former winner this season after winning at Pukaka, the road course in New Zealand earlier on this season. And that 11 of Tristan Allen back there might also be able to get up here. He'd be looking for the second win of his Duracell Cup Series career. Of course, his first as a non-charter entry last season at Bristol Dirt. That actually happened here at Rockingham, too. Mentioned that Michael Wayne Robinson is the defending winner of this race. Well, he was a non-charter entry. And he was able to find victory lane in his KB Racing Enterprises machine. So there's another thing that was kind of a good luck charm, if you will, for the Ford Mustangs. The fact that a Ford Mustang was the last manufacturer to take a checkered flag here. Chevrolet has 2 victories at Rockingham. Toyota has 1, as Jose Mills and RJ Bishop now make it a Ford 1-2-3. And it's 19 laps to go here at Rockingham. Tristan Allen has caught up to the top 5. So Toyota will be in the conversation for this race win. It's a ways back to Stephen Pollard III, but I don't know if they get racy up here in this top 6. Does Pollard have enough speed to get up there and maybe see if he can get his 2nd win of the season? I mean, what momentum would it be for this 09 team to have a victory heading into the championship season finale? 77 team's going to have some good momentum as well. You know, unpopular opinion maybe, but the stats don't lie. I think the 77 team has been the strongest team in the playoffs. They've been up there at the top back in the round of 10. They've been up at the top in the round of 8. And they are the current points leading team coming into this final race of the round of 6. So I think that if you're looking at a team with momentum here in the postseason that could be the favorite going into Homestead, it might be the 77 team. And we'll see if next week 2-time winner Roberto Crown Jr. can get it done. You don't have to win in the season finale to win the championship. You just have to finish higher than your other 3 competing teams. RJ Bishop says, not so fast there, Jose Mills. He wants to be the one to try and take the race lead away from Andrea Serra. Remember, RJ Bishop, closest he's been to victory lane was last season in a non-charter capacity, where he finished not only runner-up in a photo finish in the non-charter race at Michigan, but then in the following charter race in the Irish Hills. And trying to see if he can get his first career win here. The first career win has actually taken place a couple of times here, 3 times to be exact. Jay Jefferson, Charles Belding, and Michael Wayne Robinson have all gotten their first career wins here at Rockingham. So RJ Bishop would like to continue that trend. Andrea Serra just ahead of him wants to do the same also. And I thought I heard an idling engine up ahead. That's Vince Almriego, who is, by the way, back on the lead lap. I was going to update you on that after the cycle of pit stops. He is still on the lead lap, but he is the last car on the lead lap in 29th. They will maybe catch that 0-1, and we'll see if he's going to be an X factor into the outcome of our race winner. I noticed the driver just pick up a spot there on my telemetry. A shout out to Bruna Harumi. 1 week removed from that 21 car going to victory lane for the first time this season, courtesy of Pedro Lucas. Bruna started this race from dead last. Now, she hasn't made her way all the way up to the front, but starting 29th and making her way up to 17th place here at a track that's kind of proved hard to pass with how spread out the field has gotten. It's a pretty good job there. You're looking at a driver that has really fallen here. 78 car, Diego Yepes, all the way back to 24th. So now we got to work the calculators a little bit here, see if the 78 car could be in some trouble, because with Pollard running up here inside of the top 10, he, I believe, would be ahead of the 78 car for 3rd place. Let's double check on that. Pollard in 6th. Yepes back in 24th. So that's 18 points, 18 positions. The two were separated by 16 points coming into this race. So yeah, by 2 points, Pollard has got the 09 up into 3rd. That drops the 78 down to the cut line. The gap between the 78 and the 95 was 21 points. So with where Yepes is running right now, Sean Arndt would have to be up inside of the top 3, which he is not. He is right now in 17th. So while it would move the 78 down into the cut line area, right now has enough of a points cushion with where the 95 and the 47 are currently running. So nothing has changed as far as the Final Four. The only difference is where they would finish out points-wise, position-wise, here after the round of 6 is completed. They have caught Vince Almriego. Andrea Serra is going to take the inside line. RJ Bishop got kicked to the top side by Jose Mills, gets boxed in. So now Mills will move into the runner-up position, and he'll look to put the pressure on Andrea Serra. Has done a good job there, has Serra, of keeping the other two Fords in your rearview mirror. Running the defensive line here down the back straightaway, not allowing them to the inside. You run any lower here on the backstretch, you're going to have too shallow an entry going into turn 3. There's no way you're going to make the corner. So that's why we've seen some drivers stay up against the wall, but other drivers kind of migrate down there about 2 lanes from the outside safer barrier, running a defensive line into turn 3. Give a shout out to a couple of drivers that have had some great runs here today. We haven't really spotlighted Tristan Allen there in that 11. Great run in the 6th position. Anthony McCurry right now holding down the 9th position in that 55 car. And Chris Washer, solid outing in that Dodge out of 4 Racing Enterprises, currently in the 10th position. It is literally nose to tail amongst the top 3, and they're all going to run the higher line here down the back straightaway going into turn 3. It'll be 4, or make that 5 to go this next time by. Can Andrea Serra keep that rear bumper as wide as possible? The battle's going to be for second again. RJ Bishop stepping out on Jose Mills. They seem to be able to swap second place back and forth, but neither driver has been able to get to the inside of Andrea Serra for the race lead. And what has Zach Rogers or Ryan Brommer been able to hold in reserve? Same for Tristan Allen. Looks like Ryan Brommer is going to get the bonus point for most laps led here today, 41 in total. Andrea Serra just crossed the line to complete her 33rd lap led. The only other driver between those two that have led a lap here today is our pole sitter, Jessica Shelton. And she's only led 1 lap, the first lap. Mills almost lost 3rd place there. Was able to get back in front to the Red Bull Chevrolet of Zach Rogers. 3 to go here at Rockingham. How long can you wait if you're RJ Bishop to try and make a move here for the race lead, the potential race win? Six drivers in this lead pack. Theoretically, really, I would say only first through maybe third have a shot of winning this race, since nobody's been inclined to really step out and make passes. Tristan Allen trying to get to the outside of Ryan Brommer for 5th. Might be able to stay alongside here down the back straightaway. Might be able to complete the pass into turn 3. Kind of shades of Jade Jefferson. Remember when he won back in season 1, made a pass around the outside to eventually take the checkered flag. So there may be nothing available on the inside line, which is why we're not really seeing the 2 cars step out of line yet. But he might have to do something soon, because the white flag was just displayed for Andrea Serra. Will Bishop take a look to the bottom? Jose Mills does for 2nd place. He's not going to be able to get alongside. And I don't think RJ Bishop has anything for the 99 car. Out of turn 4 for the final time. Another driver going to get their first career win. It's Andrea Serra here today at the Rock. Team owner Levi McIntyre got to be ecstatic. It's the first career win for Andrea Serra. It's the first career win for Shadow Cult Racing Team as an organization. And it's the first trip to victory lane for the 99 car here in Season 5. What a drive there by Andrea Serra, and bring it all the way back to the green flag pit stop. The choice to come to pit road 1 lap earlier, get the fresh tires, get the jump on Ryan Brommer. She cycled out to the race lead, never looked back, led the last 37 laps of this race. And we don't even have to work the calculator. Stephen Paulwood the 3rd, 7th place today. The 09 will be battling for the championship next week. JT Bryant 8th. The 77 will be battling for the championship next week. 78 of Diego Yepes didn't get the best of runs today, back in 23rd, but not enough positions and points gained by the 95 or the 47, so the 78 will be battling for the championship next week, and Dave Campos brought the 8 car home in 14th. The 8 team will be battling for the championship next week. Your final 4 are going to be the 77, the 8, the 78, and the 09, the 95, and the 47 teams. Their road comes to an early end here today at Rockingham. Let's take a look at the full finisher results here today, as Ford indeed completes the sweep here in the round of 6. With the victory from Garcia at Boston, the victory from Lucas last week at Talladega, and the victory here today from NNSCRA. Actually, a Ford 1-2-3 finish here. They sweep the podium at Rockingham, with Bishop bringing it home in second. That ties his best career finish in a Duracell Cup Series race. Jose Mills in third. Zach Rogers and Ryan Brommer, the teammates in those Chevrolets, will bring home the rest of the top 5. The Toyota of Tristan Allen in 6th, Pollard in 7th, Bryant in 8th, McCrory in 9th, and Bradley Ream is going to snag the final spot inside of the top 10, getting that spot from Chris Washer in the closing stages. Washer brings it home in 11th, 12th for Danny Bouchard. Sean Arndt needed to bring the 95 car home inside of the top 2 in order to advance into the final 4. 13th's a great run, but it's not going to be enough to advance the 95 car into the final 4. Dave Campos in 14th, and Bruno Harumi from dead last finishes 15th place here today. Take a look at the rest of the finishing results. A couple of names that were up there towards the front, up inside the top 10 around the midway point of this race, really fell off in the latter stages. Nathan Ormond was up there in the top 10 in the early going, back to 20th. Jessica Shelton started on the pole. She fell back to 21st. Matt McIntyre was actually up inside the top 10 for a good portion the first half of this race, and he fell back to 24th. Stephen Colon never seemed to really even get out of the box. That 47 team came in the 6th seed of the remaining 6 teams, and 26th is where they will finish their playoff run. Charles Belding, former winner here, we never really got to see what he was able to do. Belding started this race from 22nd, fell all the way back to the tail end of the field, and never really recovered. Same for Danny Wells. He fell way back at the start of this race also. Both drivers lost the lead pack and will finish in 27th and 28th respectively. Vince Almriego, he ended up falling a lap down to green flag conditions there, so he was the only driver to finish -1 in 29th. Still not certain if that pit stop he made was scheduled or unscheduled. He was able to race his way back onto the tail end of the lead lap, but then got lapped afterwards when the pit stop cycle was completed. So certainly not the run that they were looking for here today. But the point standings have been calculated. Let's go back and take a look at what they look like. We basically already know who our final 4 teams are going to be. So next week, it will be Roberto Crown Jr. in the 77, Pierce Crone in the 8, Alexander Rowe in the 78, and Caleb Fogler in the 09 that will have the biggest task of their careers, trying to win a championship for their fellow drivers and their respective teams. Toyota has a 75% chance of getting their second championship. Auto Junction Racing has a 50% chance of getting the first championship of their career as an organization. So it's going to be very interesting to see who's going to come out on top. Again, you don't have to win next week. You just have to be the highest finisher. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in to today's race here from Rockingham. The 4 teams above the cut line are the 4 that are moving on to battle for the championship next week at Homestead Miami Speedway. Hope you guys will join us for that. If you enjoyed today's race here from Rockingham, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, and confirm the crew today. We showed you full finish results. These are your point standings, and we'll see you guys next week for the season finale. Congratulations once again to NNSCRA on her first career win here in the Duracell Cup Series. We'll see you guys next week. Until then, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best.